Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Tavern. So excited. I have such a great group of people here with me tonight. I can't wait to just dive right in. I see that we already have questions coming in from chat, so this is super cool. So I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to have everybody go around and introduce themselves, and we will post links in chat for anybody who hasn't been here before. We'll post links in chat, so you can just click right on it and give them a follow on Twitter, check out their Kickstarters, all of that stuff. So, Emily, we're going to start with you.
Oh man, pressure's on.
It is.
Okay. Well, I'm Emily. I have been streaming TTRPGs for like 3 years or so on various channels. I just have a lot of creativity and passion for TTRPGs, so I jump in wherever I can. My main project is Level 1 Geek, and I am 1/3 of the starting crew from there. We believe that TTRPGs are for everyone. You don't have to have a nerd degree or anything like that to start playing, so you can start Level 1 like the rest of us. You can also see that I write for games. Currently, we have Necrobiotic that's on Kickstarter. and I'm writing an adventure for that. We're just hit the 45,000 goal, and we're super hyped for it, and we need to get 5,000 more so we can get Drax adventure unlocked as well. But yeah, that's basically me. I'll be in chat as Level 1 Geek if you want to say hi.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I know it was a last-minute addition, and I'm so glad it worked out. I've enjoyed getting to talk to you a little bit already, and I'm looking forward to more conversation. Next, we are going to go to Drac.
Hi, I'm Draconics, or Drac for short. I use he, him pronouns. And you can find me on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQUES. I'm also a TTRPG streamer. I stream all over the place. You can find my schedule there. I think the main thing I do want to shout out is that I'm going to be starting going to be in a mini campaign over on Kobold Press, starting Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be a ton of fun. I'm the co-founder, event organizer, Friends Roll Dice. The stream manager at One More Multiverse. A writer, like Emily said, I'm going to be writing for a Necrobiotic if we hit our stretch goal. And also just TTRPG addict. So if you have a game that you want someone in, hit me up. Chances are I'll make time to play in it. Yeah, I should probably be sleeping more than I do, but you know, TTRPGs. But yeah, that's me. I'm very excited to be on this little panel and talk with everyone about everything.
I know. I super appreciate that you're staying up late for us tonight. We've had other people from England on before, and I always feel really bad that it's so late by the time we're done, but I am eternally grateful. Yeah, as Nicholas says in chat, what is sleep? And next we'll head over to Stefan.
I'm Stefan. I've been playing TTRPGs since 1977. Playing and running them, and I've done a minor little bit of writing a long time ago. The main thing that I've been doing lately is that I returned to school and I completed my master's in history. Actually finished it last year, and I wrote my final of 3 master's theses on race and gender in early tabletop role-playing games, and so that was a ton of fun. I've been working on my own setting, kind of system agnostic setting, for about 17 years now, and it was in notebooks and on napkins and in all kinds of other places that I had scribbled notes and everything, and I'm translating it all into World Anvil right now, just because that was like the first thing that was like, oh, I can put this all here, and so I've been working on translating that. And then I'm in the very, very early stages. I'm really trying to put together an idea for, I really want to put together a channel, a podcast stream, where I bring together kind of a diverse cast of people right now, because I think right now, more than anything, we need some unity in gaming from a lot of marginalized voices in gaming. And so I'm in the very early stages of trying to put that together. So if anyone's interested in something like that, you can DM me at my Twitter, and we can talk more about it if you think you'd be interested in that kind of thing. And last but not least, I use he, him pronouns, so I just put that out there, and that's me.
All right. Well, thank you. I being the nerd that I am, I'm actually super excited that you gave us the link to read your thesis, because I actually pulled it up the other day and started it, and so I fully intend on reading it. I really can't wait. I absolutely am looking forward to that. So thank you for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. Nolan, you're a returning guest, my one returning guest tonight.
It's my biggest accolade tonight. I'm Nolan Lacey, he, him, and Lacey on Twitter, but I use the GBQ pod.
Oh.
Down in the link below.
There we go.
I play Yardy Draw on Good Better Quest, and I am currently running our Offworlder space campaign, and I'm running a couple of our previous players, Doug and David, through it, and the wonderful, I don't know if everybody's met her, but Nicola, the druid, she's fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure to have her on the show. I just, like everybody else, am absolutely addicted to RPGs, so I jumped into this a couple of years ago with David and a couple of friends, and I haven't stopped. My feet hit the ground, and I've just been following this ever since. I'm really excited to be here with everybody.
Awesome. And Doug has a question for you. How did Nolan get so handsome? All right. Well, thank you, Nolan, for coming back and hanging out. I'm always looking forward to getting to chat with you. And let's see. Last but not least, we have Nikki, Beholder to No One.
Hello, I am the creator, producer, editor, everythinger of Beholder to No One, which has 3 shows: a discussion show where we talk with the community about D&D or tabletop games, Beholder to One Shot, where we try a bunch of different random tabletop games because I just want to play everything and don't have enough time, so I force myself to make time. And then our Behold Clearlight is a horror actual play that is coming to an end, but we have a Cowboy Bebop-esque Eberron setting coming up after that, so I'm very excited. In addition to that, we are starting 2 new podcasts because I have so much time on my hands. One is Vampire the Masquerade, which is Dice Before Dawn, and then also the second one is Sound Control RPG, which will be a Savage World sci-fi game.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've been playing, I go by she, her, and pronouns, but I've been playing for 18 years now and have not looked back since I started playing. And I'm looking for work right now, actually. So anything in the podcast world, hit me up. I am in need a full-time job.
So if anybody's looking for help with podcasting, get in touch with Nikki.
Yes, currently I'm doing editing until I hear back from something. But
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Nikki is for hire. So, for podcast stuff only. Just saying.
streams too, maybe.
Streams too. And she did help out very much for everybody who remembers Bengamins. She helped out with some of that. So, was it Bengamins? It was Bengamins, right? Nope.
I have a bad memory, so
I don't know.
She did a charity stream that I got to play on, and
Yes.
David was able to DM, and
Yeah,
it was a pleasure being there.
That's awesome.
It was a great game. That was for my 1-year anniversary / birthday. We
That's
did
so fun.
a charity stream for the Bodana group, and we raised $700 for
That's
them.
great.
My first 12-hour charity stream. I was very tired.
I bet. Oh, yeah, that's a long one. Yachts Twitch would like to know if you're willing to relocate to Nova Scotia and do landscaping.
No.
It was worth a shot. Good try,
Thank you,
Yachts.
though, for the offer.
All right, well, let's dive right in. We've gotten a couple of questions already. So these are some fun ones, actually, and we get asked them occasionally, but it has been a while. So Nicholas started off with, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I just want to remind chat, if you are coming here for the first time, just go ahead and drop your questions right into chat. I have a moderator that will make sure we get them. And then we also have, using channel points, you can use the Ask My Question Next, which will bump your question up to the next one in the queue. So when we are in the middle of a conversation, you can make sure that we get to your question before the end of the night. All right, so that out of the way, diving right in. Nicola would like to know, question, because I don't think it's been asked in a while. What is your IRL God stat and IRL dump stat? So anybody feel free to dive in once you have an answer.
My
Man.
dump stat is my con. I have so many chronic illnesses, it's not even funny.
Aw.
I think my
God
dump stat is
stat.
probably intelligence. I'd say intelligence is my dump stat. My god stat is probably wisdom, I think. I go off of just vibes, I guess, and I feel like that's what wisdom is more about. Less book smart, more street smart, I suppose. So I think, yeah, intelligence is my dump stat, god stat is wisdom. Closely followed by constitution, because I'm able to do a lot without sleeping, which I think is interesting.
I think if we're basing it off of D&D, then charisma would probably be my god stat, just because of creativity purposes, and less of knowing how to talk to people, because
Yeah.
I'm crap at that. But the creativity part, 100%.
I would say mine's probably the exact opposite from Drax, where my wisdom is in the gutter, and my intelligence is I can read and retain things pretty well, but like applying that knowledge, not good at it.
I would say for me, it would be my dump stat, probably con. And then God stat would probably be wisdom, probably would be my pick. I tend to be able to see trouble before it's coming and kind of figure things out and go, you know what? I don't know if we should do that because that's not going to turn out well.
And I have to say my god stat is charisma. And it's almost like a little bit of a curse because just any random person on the street will come up and start talking to me. And they will tell me their entire life story. And I'll just be like, cool. And I'll be stuck on the train going somewhere and someone will sit down next to me and they'll just be like, they'll want to shake my hand and then tell me everything about their lives that's hard right now. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot to take on. But I hope you'll do better in the future. And so yeah, that's.
You should get business cards saying this is my PayPal. Send me $30.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's probably my god stat and my dump stat. I'm gonna have to go with Constitution. Like I just get crazy migraines like all the time, and yeah, that's my struggle right there.
Feel that.
Yeah. I can't eat anything or else it's like immediately like the weight is jumping on me. Con is just not here for me. I don't know what's up with that.
I'm going to have to say similar to Drac. My dump stat would be intelligence, but my god stat would probably be wisdom or charisma. Or both are probably like sitting at like a 16. Because I love talking to people. I do a lot of talking to people. I don't consider myself like a super intelligent person. Actually, one of the things that I always joke about is that I always end up playing D&D characters that are supposed to be smarter than I actually am in real life. And so then I'll be like, yeah, my character would know the answer to that, but I don't know the answer to that. So help me out a little bit here.
If I roll a die, will you tell me what I know?
Right, yeah, exactly. That's a tough one. It's always a tough one though, but what about if you had to pick, I'm going to go off this question a little bit. If you had to pick a skill, like let's say just from D&D, if you had to pick a skill, what do you think your best skill would be?
Ooh.
And you can use any version of D&D.
I mean, history for me probably being the.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I actually know this. This is my secret super ability. Anyone can like ask me this. I am really good at perceiving things or finding things. So like perception or like spot checks. That's my jam. I've had a friend text me and be like, hey, I know you've never been to my house before, but where is this book? And I was like, did you try the closet? And she's like, found it in a bag in her closet. I don't know why. This is my one magical ability that's been given to me.
That's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I actually don't know.
I think for me, I have two. One from when I was younger, since I haven't done this in a while, but before it was performance, because I used to play 7 instruments, and now I stopped playing like 13 years ago and haven't touched them since for some reason. Mostly time. But now I think it's more just like it's like a knowledge, random like 3.5 knowledge blank, because I love to learn just everything and anything.
That's awesome.
Is it ones that we feel we use or ones that we wish we had skill-wise?
Sure, give me either.
Yes.
One that I wish I had, and it's for very infantile reasons, is sleight of hand, because I love close-up magic, and I just wish I could, like, is this your call? for no reason other than to be silly.
I love that.
Fair.
I think
I really wish sleight of hand I had that skill of just like pulling out. I was like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
I'm trying to think. When I was younger, I would probably say acrobatics. Surprisingly, something that a fun fact about me that usually surprises everybody is that I used to be a gymnast when I was in like middle school and very early high school, and I had to stop due to a back injury, and but I was on prepping for the competition team, so I was fairly decent at it, and it was really sad to have to stop. So yeah, in my much younger days, I would say that it was probably acrobatics. In my today days, I would say that I wish it was still acrobatics, but it's not.
I mean, I think we all are aware of like, you know, TTRPG systems where you have like your stats and everything that are like the young version of your character,
yes.
and then they have all these modifiers for age.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, when you get a little bit older, you start getting those modifiers, and you're like, nope, can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Track 2 for back pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually a system, Pendragon, that does that. Like, you get to like a certain age, and then you start like getting these penalties.
Yeah.
Like, there's like an appearance score, and you can get so ugly you can't be seen in public anymore.
But then, like, in a lot of them, you know, of course, your mental stats will go up, right? Like, you get all this knowledge and wisdom and everything like that, but all your physical stats just go in the trash.
That's fun. I've heard of that game before. I've never actually played it, but I would like to very much. All right, so along the same lines, Vertrox Nightblood also asked the question, what class are you in real life?
Bard.
Oh,
I bet everyone's gonna just say Bard, right?
no.
Creation Bard, honestly.
Informing for people.
I'm a barbarian, I think. I'm a fairly charismatic barbarian.
Yeah?
Yeah. I just not brute force everything, but like I just do everything and hope for the best.
Friend, damn it.
I just hope for the best. I don't really think. If it feels wrong, I don't do it, obviously. But other than that, I just go for it and hope for the best. So I feel like that fits like a typical barbarian.
I love that so much.
I'm gonna say rogue for me because I have, at least I've been told I have a devious mind, and like I just have this like whole nature about me of like, I mean, if I play a video game, the first time I'm playing a stealth character. It doesn't matter, just because that's the way I feel at home. It's probably over the many years of playing D&D and other role-playing games, a rogue-like character is probably the one I play the most. And it just kind of appeals to my personality a lot. I do, you know, like to play characters where I break away from myself, but like I always find myself returning to like my comfort zone, you know, like it's fun to get out of your comfort zone, but you always find yourself like going back there because that's your comfort zone. So yeah, I'd probably say rogue.
I will say my kid would probably say I'm a rogue because I sneak up on her all the fucking time. And she's like, Jesus, where did you come from? And I'm like, the office?
Right? Right over there? Yeah, I would probably say rogue for me also, for this almost the exact same reason, Nikki. I get told a lot that I walk very softly, and I used to share an office with a woman who would be like, here I am sitting here talking away to you, didn't even notice you weren't in here anymore. I'm like, I'm not sure how, because I had to walk by you to get out, but okay. You know,
you just like erase your presence and disappear.
That's exactly
Incredible.
what it is.
You just rolled that well.
I just
It's
put on my
super
cloak of
anime.
invisibility and off I went.
Maybe you're just an illusionist and you've mesmerized everyone.
Oh,
I like that idea. That could be it. Let's go with that. Oh my gosh.
I feel like I'm probably a cleric because I'm ready to like scream and help people and want to go into, you know, be with others and talk to them and get to know what's going on. And as soon as like a fight breaks out, I'm like, you know, I'm ready to go. And maybe I'm playing clerics wrong, but I always feel like they're the ones who are very, boisterous and they're hands-on and they're ready to be friends with everybody and get into the thick of it.
Yeah.
Man, I think I'm gonna go Bard.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
I think straight up Bard, maybe a Paladin. I really do feel like if I was gonna be in something, I'd have like a shield, right? I'd be there if I was in a setting like that. But yeah, I'd probably IRL. I'm a Bard.
Are you talking like a 5e bard, or are you talking like a 1e bard where like...
Oh man. What would you say the difference is? What's the biggest difference?
Like,
I didn't play 1e.
So the biggest thing in 1e, like you had to start out as like you had to go through the classes of rogue and fighter first, and you had to stay in that class and couldn't use abilities from any of the other classes that you picked up along the way, or you would lose experience. So you had to like do that and stay in that class and then switch. And then you became a bard finally after all that, and you could at that point cast at the time druid spells, and then you were a bard. So you were like fighter and then rogue and then bard.
I like that.
And then they were so overpowered, but I mean, in a way they weren't, because it took you forever to get there because you had to go through that whole process.
Yeah, I would definitely say 1e because that sounds way cooler than the 5e bard. I'm just gonna go by the rule of cool here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like so many of the classes have gone through so many like transformations over the years that it's almost hard to say. I started playing D&D at 3.5, and even now, like just some of the changes to 5. Yeah, it's different, that's for sure. All right.
I kind of want to like play a game with us as our IRL classes now and just see how this would balance out with so many rogues.
Yeah, I am.
Time.
That would be fun. I think we should do it.
Yes.
Because we all need that one more thing, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have a podcast we could do it on.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey.
I'm getting ready. The beginning of July, we're doing a charity stream here on this channel for Extra Life, and one of the streams that's part of it is going to be a all cleric game, all level 13 cleric game called the Amen.
I mean, cleric is probably the one class, like when people have asked, like, what's a class that you can do a whole party of? That's usually my answer.
Yeah.
Because with all, especially now in ever since 3rd edition and now in 5, all of the things that you can do with the different domains, you can have a little bit of rogue in there, you can have a little bit of fighter in there, you can have and pick up all of these things, and then you're never hurt for healing. So.
Right.
I actually am DMing a game for Awfully Queer Heroes right now, and it's a 3 rogue, 1 paladin party. And it is the most chaotic party ever, because the paladin is a trickster paladin, like their god is a trickster god. And I'm just like, what is happening? Guys, please, for the love of God.
That sounds like a blast.
It is hilarious, and they keep making deals with things they shouldn't make deals with to survive. So I'm like, whatever. Anything?
Oh, God.
Okay. You said anything.
Oh,
that bill's going to come due one day.
That's wild. All right. Matt Stew Drinker asked a fun question. If you had to live in a fantasy town or city that you've played in or DM'd in, which would you choose?
This is a hard one.
It is a hard one.
I'm going to shamelessly self-promote here. I have a city in my world called Olentor in my setting. And it is really wild. Like, actually, it is actually a whole city that is a narco-syndicalist. It is an almost completely anarchic state where different factions will rise to the occasion of what needs to be done at the time and rule, like, for that event or that sort of thing that's going on in that part of the city at that moment, and then move on about their business. And I have this long and complicated thing about how it all works, and works together, and they're a city that's like so. In just a quick thing in my setting, the elves, humans, and goblinoids are all staunch allies because they were enslaved by dwarves and elves for like thousands of years. And so about 200 years ago, they liberated themselves, and so freedom is like core to their being after all of that time. And so for them, it's been 200 years. It's like the same amount of time roughly that it's been for us to the War of 1812. But to the elves and the dwarves, it was a generation ago because they're so long lived. And so they have two different perspectives coming into that. And so in this city, this freed city, which used to be a dwarven stronghold, it's in a dormant or a volcano that exploded out into the ocean and formed this kind of like crescent, and they terraced it, and there's a bay in the cone of the former volcano, and they made this weird kind of chaotic society, and it's a really wild and fun place where like anything can happen, and the law is just kind of by the minute. And I think it would be like a fun place to be like to visit, probably not to live, but to visit. So that would be my choice.
I think mine would also be a homebrew one that I made up on the spot in the middle of my Monday game, which was honestly, I was real proud of. The party found two Giths, and they helped them fight two mind flayers, and the Giths are like, oh, we're going back to our home plane, the astral plane. You want to go with us? And I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? So when they got there, I decided that all of a sudden the astral plane is futuristic, and it's like this massive city filled with magical electronic stuff and towers and skyscrapers and Giths and all people of all sizes, and it was just absolutely stunning. So basically it became Astral Run, so the shadow run of the astral plane, and that is my goal of it, at least. So I'm very curious to see how that world is going to go.
What? That's wild.
I actually can't think. So I'm a big fan of D&D, but I play a lot of different TTRPGs and a lot of different genres. And I don't think I've played in many fantasy. Weirdly enough, a lot of the ones I played in like modern or sci-fi or like science fantasy. But again, most of the time we're in space, so that's probably doesn't really count as a city. So I guess the only real answer I can really give is probably Waterdeep. I think that's the only like actual city that I can remember right now that I played like a game that stayed in that city at the very least. Either Waterdeep or East Haven in Realm of Frostmaiden, because I was in the Realm of Frostmaiden campaign, and that was a ton of fun. Yes, I think I was. No. Okay, so I'm hopefully it's gonna be coming back soon. But I was in a Pathfinder campaign that was a villain campaign, so we all played villains, and I was the son of a lady who was in charge of he ruled over a city called Holomog, I think it was called. It was very much like it was Castlevania vibes because I was a half vampire. My character's mother was a full vampire, so we had a castle. It was great. Everyone feared my character. It was a ton of fun. So I think I'd live there because everyone would fear me. Yeah.
I have two answers.
All right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I interrupted you. Would you like to go first?
No, go ahead. No,
okay.
you had your answer ready.
So, my first one is a setting I created. I don't know if you guys ever played. There's this game called Arium, and you do group world building together. And in this one, we made something we called Cyber Nords, where it was like cyberpunk Vikings. And it was all a virtual reality world. They didn't realize it. So everyone's in this virtual reality world that everyone's plugged into because something's happened to Earth, right? And every Thor, Odin, Loki, they each have their own wandering tribes. And each tribe has a specific kind of cybernetic they are specialized in. And they rove around on these different cities, and we just did one shot of it, and it was such a cool setting, and we really built it out so huge. and they were all like, you had like different tattoos that you would gain as you like made bigger experiences in life, and they would give you like a magical like in-game ability to like cheat the system or whatever, and it was just, it was so thorough and neat. I loved it a lot.
I love magic tattoos.
Yes! Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then the other one was a villain world that we made with the same system. And it was the planet on which villains are training to become ultimate villains before they go off to join their their storybook, right? Or their movie or whatever they're going to be in. So
Nice.
everyone
That's so
can...
cool.
Right? It was so fun. And like every time Tuesday at like 8 a.m. came along, whoever had died in the past week just popped back up and like went on, because you're training to become a villain, so you're gonna have like villainous things happening. And it was like anything like you could imagine could happen. Like if you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna be like a cartoon villain, I'm gonna have like an Acme hammer. They could summon an Acme hammer and do something with it. And it was just super off the wall, wild, and people were really overly creative with that game. So
love it.
that would be a secondary
That is
one.
So cool.
Chat
Yeah.
wanted to know, Neclo asked what that system was called.
It's called Arium. You do a bunch of group world building. I can find a link if you want, and I'll pass it on to Luna.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
A ton of fun. I highly recommend it. We played it on Friends Roll Dice a couple of times as well.
It was a great time.
I would like to play this game.
Sounds amazing.
I know that does sound like really, really fun.
Okay.
I think I'd want to live in a town that David came up with called Awainu, because it's the village of awakened animals. So it's just full of like happy dogs that can talk and a bunch of different. I think we met an iguana, we met a hippo, we met a ton of dogs, and David did such a good job bringing all of these awakened animals to life that I want to live there.
Awesome.
That
That
sounds
sounds kind of fun.
adorable.
It does sound great. I'm in.
I'm worried if I don't want to know what my dog has to say about me, honestly. I just have this, I want to pretend that my dog loves me so much and there's absolutely nothing bad, so I just don't want to know.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like the dogs, I'm not so worried about. It's the cats that there's going to be some judgment there for sure.
Yeah, my cat's probably just like, you.
Yeah,
What are you doing here? You're not my human, go away.
get out of my house.
I would hope that my cat loves me, because I'm literally playing a character based on my cat.
Nice.
I named one of my favorite characters after my cat.
Well,
It was
now
Pixel.
if your cat can talk, they can tell you how good of a character you're playing, based off of them whether or not they're offended or not.
Yeah,
She
come on.
may
You
or
think
may
I would be
not
a
have-
gunslinger?
She may or may not have started a mafia war in Shadowrun, so not great.
Oh,
There's the link for that system. It's in chat now. I keep going back and I'm like, where would I want to live? And then I realized that every town that I've played in, my character has been there because something really awful was going on. And I'm like, I think about the game that I'm currently playing. Well, no, I don't want to live there because the city's always on fire and there's riots all the time. And the last game that I played in, I don't want to live there because the city keeps getting attacked by goblins all the time. So that's out. I'm like, I can't think of a city that any of my characters have been in that hasn't been like something disastrous going on. So I'm like, I think actually if I really dig for it, I can't remember the name of the town, but I did a one shot like a year ago with some friends that was it was a homebrew game using the Fate accelerated system, and basically it was this game where like the town that we were in was like turning to sludge and like just all kind of gross. And and I should mention too, we were all like I was a mouse folk. We had somebody else that was a quokka. We also had a basically like a Warforged, but not technically a Warforged, that had 2 different personalities because he'd been stuck in the woods for so long. Kind of like the Tin Man, so he couldn't move. And then there was this little dwarf guy, another character that would come out and like do maintenance on him after he found him and like try to clean him up and all of that stuff. So anyway, we all ended up going on an adventure together. I think the city that I would pick would be the city that we ended up with when it was all over. Because then it was all like nice and happy.
Yeah.
Was
Honestly,
there a
now
man
that
behind a curtain?
No, it was not the Wizard of Oz, but it sure seemed like it though.
that actually what you just said reminded me of another place that I would have actually liked a lot, or I loved playing and would like to live in. When I played in Nature Check, I played as a guest in their show Arda, and I played a mouse folk. And what the amazing thing that they do is they make it purely based off science. So
Right.
the mouse folks actually have homes. Like, what would an actual mouse make a home out of? They make it out of hay, and they would have like a little dome, and like they made it like that, and it was adorable. So we were basing it off of like what my character would do, and my character is protector of these little pop bugs, and the shells were part of the culture of the mouse folks, and it was just this sweet, quaint little town that was so adorable. And I was the obnoxious monk in it, and I loved it. And also my character had a crush on another little girl mouse, and I was like, I better be invited back when you come back through, because my character's getting married to her, and we're gonna have a beautiful mouse wedding, and it's gonna be adorable.
Aww.
Oh.
I mean, I would have to say, being from Colorado, that a Shadowrun Denver would be both horrifying and amazing at the same time.
A Shadowrun anything would be horrifying, though. So kind of.
Well, yeah.
Fair.
I love the lore in the world, but like I don't want to live in it.
Yeah, I mean, I would, again, that's another one I would love to like visit just to check out and then get out of there like real quick.
I'll play it all the time, but I'd like to go home, please.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Let's see. This is one of my favorite questions that he's asked before. Staghorn in chat would like to know: you can change the letter of one word in a spell and cast it IRL once a day. What spell is it?
Ooh.
I have to think about spells.
I forgot every spell that exists except for Burning Hands. Hold up.
All the spells.
All the spells are gone.
It's a good question.
It is a good question. The
Does it
last
have
time
to-
this question came up, chat came up with some gorgeous ones. It was amazing.
Does it have to be better?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, the one that I always fall back on is just fish.
Stole my answer, damn it.
I like
Quickly Googles all spells.
Right.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
all the D&D spells.
that. Right. All the D&D spells ever.
Okay, this is just the first one I thought of, but instead of blade ward, it could be blade word, and any word you said, you could say like any sort of blade, and it would make that, and that could be your weapon.
Ooh.
That would be neat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would probably, now that you said blade, that made me think, I would probably change booming blade to dooming blade.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Make
What
it
would
like
that
a
look
really-
like? What would it look
like a-
like when you cast that spell?
That would be like a really high level kind of like power word kill type thing where you just like, if anyone's ever seen the movie Kung Fu Hustle,
Of course.
there's like there's this like amazing scene where the guys can play the music and they like do the music and it sends like out all of these like spectral blades, and there's like a whole sea of spectral blades. So something like that, like dooming blade would be like this sea of spectral blades flying at flying out in a wave in front of you.
Yes.
On
I think I know
the
mine.
the fishing line, power word krill.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Nice.
So I think I would go with Troll the Dead. So I would do this.
That's a good one.
I would go for bestow hug instead of bestow curse. So I ended
Aw.
up having a lot of, especially during this pandemic, it would be nice to hug people without
There you go.
fear. So I'll bestow a hug without having to like physically touch them. I'll give them a magical hug instead.
There you go.
I would use that all the time.
Yeah.
That
I would
yeah.
counterspell it.
I mean, of course, I'm only going to bestow a hug to people who hug inclined. I'm not going to just randomly hug people. That would be weird. But bestow a hug would be cool.
What about?
That
Oh, go ahead.
That's one thing I like is that I don't get random hugs now from like family and stuff. I'm like, no, sorry, 6 feet rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Can't
go.
hug.
What about disguise shelf? You just
Oh.
walk into a room and all the shelves
They just
disguise.
blend in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be the best for when you have to like emergency clean and like you
Yeah.
just like throw everything up on the shelf and it's gone.
There
Or
you
you can
go.
just disguise mess. That would be
like-
Yeah.
Doug just said mage band.
Oh god.
Man.
Oh god.
Disguise elf.
Disguise elf. Troll the dead. That's what I was gonna say, Nicola. Was troll the dead.
Yeah, that's the one I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Troll the Dead is phenomenal. That's see now I want to make it like a grave cleric just based around that spell. Like, trolling the dead.
What about instead of mind sliver, you could have like mind liver, and that just like makes them completely unable to think. It like,
This turns their brain into liver.
yeah.
You just killed
Yeah.
someone. That's a murder spell.
Yeah.
That's how you instantly murder someone.
Or you could make it so that like mind your liver, like don't drink too much alcohol, and so mind liver makes it so that they could get drunk and it doesn't have any effect on them.
You know, now that you say that, I was thinking you could change mending to like fending, as in like fending for yourself. You could like
Oh.
find your keys or something, like when you lose them. Like,
Oh, one for Nikki. Instead of blade barrier, it could be hug barrier, so you don't have to worry
There
about
you
people
go.
randomly
There you
speaking.
go.
Hug barrier.
there you go.
Ah.
I'm just
What
like
if-
over
what
here Googling like words that rhyme with. So that it sounds similar.
Nicola, I don't know what I would do with it, but I always default to sheep instead of sleep. Right? They can't
I thought
talk
of it,
now.
but
They're
it's
just
not appropriate, so I can't use it.
absorb elephants. Yeah.
How
when-
many situations are you in where you need to where absorbing an elephant is a good idea? I
We-
don't.
when I used to play, I don't know, I haven't played D&D in a really long time because I play Pathfinder a lot now. Protection from elements. We always used to call it protection from elephants. So,
I just speak with dad instead of speak with dead.
aw,
It's like,
can
hey
come in
dad, I
handy.
have a question. How do I do this again?
call your dad whenever you need to.
What about power word hill, and you just turn into Hank Hill when you cast it? Whoa!
Start off on propane tanks.
Do you need some propane? Oh.
Here, let me help you, Chuck.
So good.
Oh
I
man.
mean, I guess you could change snare to spare, and then just have a spare whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
What
Like,
about
hey, we need
instead of-
another length of rope. Hey, I have those spares now.
Here's one I made earlier.
Yeah.
Just pull it out from nowhere.
What about mage band?
What about instead of
mage
guiding
hand?
bolt, guiding belt?
Yeah.
Guiding
What would
belt.
you do with that spell? What would that be like?
You'd never miss a belt loop in your pants.
Oh.
I was thinking it's like it's like a tuning fork. It just leads you to water or whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, that's a good
okay.
idea.
And right in 300 kilometers. You just hear that coming out of your belt.
Yeah,
Please
I-
exit on the second exit of the roundabout.
You
yeah.
make thunder wave into thunder weave.
Ooh.
Wait, what would Thunderweave be?
It would make some really amazing garments. I would imagine.
That's true. Yeah, I like. Yeah, you could do mage band instead of mage hand, and then suddenly you have a band that's just all mages.
What about
God.
There you
summon?
go.
What about summon Bay instead of summon Fae?
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I want that one, please.
Okay.
But you couldn't do that late at night.
Yeah.
You have to text them first. Like,
That would just
you
be
up?
real.
You up?
You up? Okay, cool. And then you cast it.
Oh gosh. Arcane Luck. I'm just going through chat right now. Arcane Luck from Arcane Lock. Find Steve instead of Find
Steve.
Steed. Just takes you to any random guy named Steve.
There you go.
Sun Cursed instead of Sunburst, and anyone who goes in the sun just instantly gets sunburned.
Oh.
God.
Yeah.
This is why I don't go outside. Maybe.
Yes.
I think I've tapped all of my creativity. I'm just amazed that you all
Yeah.
are still going.
I don't
I
have
know.
anything else.
All the other ones were not appropriate, so I'm not gonna say.
Well, you know, if you don't like the hugs, you instead of Beacon of Hope, Beacon of Nope.
I like that one. Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
I like that.
I
a
needed
lot.
that at work. Toxic buck. Speaking of nope.
You could have instead of True Strike, you could have True Bike. All right. I think that's all my creativity. Chat, keep dropping them in there though if you come up with more, because I love reading what other people come up with for this.
Yes.
All right, let's see. We have a question from Apache1222. He would like to know, what is your favorite species or creature to use for a familiar or companion? Can either be for a PC or an NPC if you DM.
I don't play characters that have companions usually or familiars, so I don't really have one. I'm always a fan of anything as close to a dog as I can. So a dog would be nice. A wolf is always fun. But yeah, I haven't actually played any that have a familiar or companion.
I like owls. Usually, that's my normal go-to. I remember playing an elder and elf who had a different look and persona for every season, who also had a different owl for every season. So I actually had like 4 pictures of owls, and they were all different and pretty, and like I was very excited I got to pick 4 owls.
I love that.
So shamelessly self-promoting again. I have these creatures in my world called storm cats. They are large tiger-sized elemental cats that live like high up in a couple of mountain ranges, and they normally they're fluffy and white like a big cumulus cloud. But when they get angry, their coat gets darker like a storm, and it starts to turn grayer and grayer and black, and they start to discharge electricity. And things and lash out with electricity around them, and they're highly intelligent creatures, and they are used by because they're elemental. They're like part air elemental. They essentially run through the air, and so they are used as cavalry mounts for a particular formation in my world, a particular military formation, and they're just really fun creatures, because when they're calm, they're like these big fluffy white big cats, but if you make them mad, they're like a little furry storm cloud that'll claw you to death. So,
That sounds so cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, they're fun.
I played a summoner. So they have an eidolon, right? And I was using some like third party something for Paizo, and I chose a celestial being called like an Azada, and so she would summon this very handsome celestial being, and then he would have like all these weird mutations that she had done to like apply into specific situations, because she's a summoner, and so they have like evolution points and they can change. So he had like big clawed hands and like webbed feet for swimming, and like it was like this really weird looking, handsome, bewinged angel man. And I actually ended up liking him so much that I killed off the summoner and like had him like jump planes to come be my main character, and it was really
Oh
Nice.
my
fun.
god.
So, yeah, that was probably my favorite companion.
One of my players befriended an
What
ankylosaurus.
what's the size limit for the companions?
I would say go with anything at this point.
Oh, because I was gonna say like a sandworm from Dune and just have like
Oh,
starship sized worm whenever I want it.
man. If we could have anything, I want a flying killer whale.
Oh, there you go.
And that's like gonna be my jam, and I just want to like be able to like ride my killer whale anywhere. Big old orca.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that then, because I'm a big anime fan, and what I'm a big fan of is ReZero, and I think like season 1 or season 2, one of the big enemies was called the white whale, which is a flying whale, but always had the ability that if it killed anyone, that person was erased from everyone's memory. It was a really big story point. It's really good. I recommend watching ReZero. It's very fun. A really good anime. So I would want that to be my familiar, because then
Wow.
I can kill all of my enemies and no one remember they ever existed. So I can never get
Wow.
caught.
I am adding that anime to my list right now.
Yeah, same. Here's the mint killer.
Yeah, I think in one of my games, my players actually befriended and then awakened a T-Rex, and then it followed them around. And I'm like, it's not helping you fight. Like, you don't get to have it fight for you. But yeah, they had a companion T-Rex technically.
Yeah, we had a our last 5e campaign I was in. My spouse, she awakened a pair of megalodons because we were doing like this part of the campaign. We were in the ocean, and she awakened a pair of megalodons that followed us around and were eating like the things that we were mowing our way through in the game as they hit the water. So that was fun.
My character that I'm playing right now actually is a ranger, so she has a wolf named Lupo, who hangs out with her. But I tried really hard to get a Brontosaurus, but that was a no-go.
Well,
Bummer.
Actually, no, that reminds me. Actually, I do have a. So obviously, my character, I'm playing a fighter in a Rime of the Frost Meter campaign I'm in. And obviously, fighters don't tend to get familiars, but I got a bag of tricks, which like lets me summon a random creature depending on what I roll. I ended up rolling the number to get a panther. So I have a black panther. That's my little companion. So I guess his name is Aptho, which I'm very excited about. A fighter with a panther is, in my opinion, OP, but my GM doesn't know that, so I'm gonna run with it. But yeah, I think I'd have, realistically, I would love to have a panther. Unrealistically, I would like to have the white whale that erases all my enemies from existence.
that's amazing.
There's so many good animals out there, though. Like, so many good companions. Like, I could think of a million that I probably would really want.
Like a red panda, and it's all clumsy and it falls all the time.
That'd be so cute.
I had a red panda familiar once in one of my characters. They're so neat looking.
They are.
They really are.
I just want to tussle with one just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Exactly.
We'll have it statted out by the end of break, I'm sure. And to that point, this is actually a great time for us to pause and take a quick break so that everybody can get up and stretch their legs and use the restroom and all of that stuff. So if you're hanging out here in chat, remember, feel free to keep dropping those questions right into chat. We will get to them after the break. We've got one already to start off with when we come back. And we will be back in just a few minutes. So we'll see you all in just a few.
cool.
All right, we are back, everybody. How is everyone doing? We are going to dive right back in with a question that was asked right before the break. Came from Ray Mayhem, and the question is, what is the best character voice you've ever heard or had, and why? That's funny. Oh, we are? Oh.
No.
Oh.
We all are.
Oh, okay.
Weird. Okay, well, I thought I hit that, but apparently I didn't, so... sorry
Nolan,
about
do you
that.
want to say what you said then? Yeah, because apparently everyone was muted.
Yeah. No, we're not muted anymore. Everybody should be unmuted now.
Do you want to bring the question back in?
Yes. So the question was for everybody, from Ray Mayhem, what's the best character voice you've ever heard or had, and why?
And I responded with, one of my characters sounds like Rick Moranis, and I think that's probably the best character voice I could ever hope for.
Yes, I think especially now that we've been doing a lot of TTRPGs over like Zoom and Discord and stuff like that, I've messed around with a lot of voice changes. So I have like one that was really fun with one voice mod, and it was like a really deep and slow voice for Tortor I was playing. It was for one shot, so I never played him for very long, but it was a really deep voice. It was like an old wise adventurer who's currently retired but was brought back into action because they needed his expertise. So it was a lot of fun. So I'd say that was probably my favorite assisted voice. My favorite unassisted voice is absolutely ruined my vocal cords when I did it. But so I'm in a series. It's more like a series over on the D&D channel, and we're playing through the Candlekeep Mysteries books, and the recent one we just finished was Book of the Raven, and I played a character who was heavily inspired by Shaggy, and I gave him the voice because we kind of joked during in character creation, like, wouldn't it be funny if we all play like characters based on the Mystery Gang? I was like, I know all of you are joking, but I'm running with it. So my character was Shaggy. He was a barbarian part of the beast. So he would turn into a werewolf who was inspired by Scooby. And the voice I had for his human form was kind of like, guys, do we have to do this? I'm really nervous. I'm not really much of a prophecy guy. So can we just go home? You know, my aunt has dinner ready. So I think that was my favorite voice. Every session I would be hoarse because it ruined my vocal cords. But it was a ton of fun.
It's so good though.
So
You're so good at it.
Yeah.
I think honestly my favorite right now is I just recorded a Goblin Quest episode the other day with Doug from Good Better Quest, Adam from Return Snyder, and Patch, and then Dev Makes Things was the DM. The freaking voices that some of them were having, I was just dying. Like mine was just this high pitch because I don't do voices usually. I usually just do like tonal changes. But I was like, I'm gonna talk like this, guys. And I was just like, I was fucking Mickey Mouse. It was so obnoxious. But I was dying laughing the entire time.
Oh, I love it.
I saw that Nekla in the chat reminded me of a character that I was hoping would be important in this campaign and then forgot about because they killed him in incredibly brutal fashion. So,
Oh no!
But he talked like Macho Man Randy Savage, and he was like,
the Intergalactic Inquisitor of the Milky Way, coming to find you, brother.
And the first time I did that voice while we were recording, everybody was like, what just happened? Like, veins were popping out and you were saying things. Like, what did you do?
That was fantastic. Vertrox Nightblood in chat agreed with me, said it before I got the chance to, but Seth from Cheaper by the Dungeon, his Raisin Boy voice is hysterical. I don't know how he does it, but it's so funny. If you haven't heard it, definitely drop them a listen, or if you check out our episode from like 2 weeks ago, he was on and he did it on there, and it was so darn funny.
This is a hard question because there's so many good voices out there.
Yeah.
I do want to call out my buddy Toby. He is the GM for the podcast, The Side Quest Inn, and just an amazing array of voices. And I was running a game for him on stream a while back, Great American Witch, and he's playing just this wonderful woman, right? And we were going, and he accidentally slipped into a voice from his podcast where it was like this very seductive dominatrix voice. And I was so taken off guard. He's like, "Are you gonna pick that up?" And I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And I was just so impressed with this, like, the fluid change into it. It was great. Yeah. So I would have to say that voice was probably made the biggest impression on me before.
That's
I think
funny.
they go like way back into my gaming past. I had a buddy in high school back in the 80s who and it like was so impactful. I still remember it like all these years later that we were in a dungeon in this was first edition AD&D, and he there was this archwizard that had been cursed, and he was trapped in this dungeon, and he had been trapped in this dungeon for like decades. And so this wizard, he knew all of these spells, and he knew, like, he could memorize, like, the prepare his spells, right? But he didn't remember which spells were which, because he had been trapped in there so long, and he had started to, like, because of some of the things that had happened to him in the dungeon, he had started to just confuse things, and so he mixed them up. So he would roll randomly whenever this NPC would cast a spell, thinking that whatever he was going to cast, and this voice that he had for this guy was absolutely hilarious, because he would do this kind of like little like normal thing, and then as he was about to cast these spells, it would get like a little high pitched and shrill, and he would think like all of a sudden he was going to be casting a shield spell, and the next thing you know, there's a fireball in the middle of the room or something like that. It was a pretty wild time, but I still to this day I can hear that voice in my head like all these years later.
I was going to ask if he changed one letter of the spell that he was casting.
That may have very well been what happened.
I cast Wall of Lice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
What's your favorite character voice? Can we like change the question slightly? Do you guys have a favorite character voice that you do?
I can't do voices. I can't. I'm so bad at them.
Well, I think I misunderstood it the first time, because I was talking about the voices that I can do, but like my favorite voice, a voice that I could put on and listen to for the rest of eternity, is David Tilstra when he gets real. He does his like rural voice.
Yes.
He plays a Loxodon. He gets real low, and like he could just read recipes to me, like read those mom blogs, like back when I was in college and I found ramen noodles for the first time. I could listen to it all day. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great one.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into the accent now, but my favorite one was I did a redneck furbolg for my husband who was trying to become a druid, and this guy was just like, I basically was Bobby from Supernatural, just a redneck, and it was a lot of fun. It took me a few tries to get into the actual accent, so now I don't even want to try, but it was hilarious at the time, and he was just like, what are you doing? Get the hell off my property.
Oh my god, I love that.
I love dropping like that type of accent into fantasy settings. I think it's the greatest. Have you ever seen Rallius and Associates? there's like this redneck. It's an animated series on YouTube. You need to go check it out. It's like the worst TTRPG party got like just banded together, and they have to go do these quests, right? And it was before I even really played any sort of TTRPG, and they have just this redneck elf, and his name's Neebs, and he's just the funniest character. Seriously recommend.
That's amazing.
This one's not my favorite, but I, in the sense of voice, but I really enjoyed acting him out. The mayor of the town that they started was this not great person, and he's like, hey, you, the yellow one, what's your name? Whatever. Can you get me the other one, the tall one? Like, just go get that one. Like, for like the entire, they played for like 14 sessions, and he still just called people by like appearances. Like, there was a tall, scary one and the yellow one, and like he was just a jerk the entire time. But then one character was super intimidating, and he's just like, "Oh, you want to play that way?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, you can have what you want, whatever, it's fine."
Yeah.
What's my name? Tall, scary, what? What's my name?
Yeah, I
was
think
so
I
funny.
don't tend to do voices so much as I tend to have like sometimes have like verbal quirks to like some of the characters I do, like really like measured speech or something like that, or really like monotone sometimes for certain characters and things like that. I do like a lot more of that than I do necessarily like accents or voices or anything. So like I played an artificer and a gnome artificer in our last campaign, and she had like a very measured kind of speech pattern that she would use. She was very, very direct and very kind of brusque, and always at like debating with the cleric in the party, because her standing was that the gods were meddling ahats, because she thought that they stifled the creativity of mortals. And so she just had this very kind of like very measured, direct speech, and I think I do more of that than I do like any kind of accent or voice.
Yeah, same.
I think that's such a great advice, like, as well. Like, you don't have to do a voice. I am really terrible at doing voices, and I do them every single time. And I shouldn't, because nobody likes to listen to it.
I think it's awesome that there are other ways you can convey like uniqueness to a character. I think voices are like the easy way to go, but I think like most people are bad at voices unless you're a professional voice actor, right? They're not good at them. So that's why we always hear, I think, in a lot of things, we hear the same accents over and over again, because there's go-tos. Because those are the ones that are easy for everybody, and that's what people just default to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, there's a difference between my, hey guys, what's going on? Like, let's just go hang out, and then there's a difference between like the super serious, like, oh hey, how are you today, darling? Like, what is, like, it's the same voice. It's just like
one of the characters that my David, not David Tilstra, David Hallman does, has a stutter. And the first couple of times we met him, I was like, I'm not sure how that's going to go across on the recording. Like, it feels kind of insensitive. And he was like, there is a very specific purpose behind his speech. And this is kind of spoilery for Good Better Quest, but you find out that he was like mind controlled by this person whose name began with M. And every single M in David's speech when he plays this character is where he stutters. And like, it took us 3 seasons for him to reveal that he did that. And I went back and re-listened to every time that he talked. And every time he's in that character, the M's are where he's stuttering. And I was like, oh, you have been so clever for so long, and I'm just finding this out.
Hate
awesome.
that. Love it, but hate it. You're
Yeah.
like, why did it take me so long?
How did I miss this?
Yeah, that character went from like my favorite character because he was the artificing professor to being like a real. traumatic. He had this terrible past, and now I'm just like crying while we're playing. He's giving me this speech, and I'm like, nope, I can't do this.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't tend to do a lot of voices. It's just not something that I'm comfortable with. But you know, like was said before, I tend to change like my pacing or the volume of my voice or how I enunciate the words. You know, one time I did a one shot where I played a wombat, a combat wombat, and and his name was Cornelius, and so I went through the entire game and this is how he talked, and it was just like this, and so it wasn't really a voice, it was just changing how I talk, because I'm much more comfortable with that than I am in trying to do an accent that is probably going to be very, very wrong and not sound good at all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, just a reminder for chat, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and we will answer them. I'm gonna actually pull from some of our questions that we've gotten in previous weeks that we didn't have the chance to answer with those groups. We had a couple of really good ones that came in for our last episode, and we just ran out of time. So this will be a good chance to get to ask them. One that was asked was, what's the biggest curveball that you've ever thrown at your players, or that players have thrown out at you as a DM, or just to the game that you were playing?
Ooh, good one.
I think mine was the astral plane motion, because we were in a fantasy setting city building game and they were just heading towards the next city, and then I'm just like looking at this, I'm like, why would they be doing this? Oh, they're gonna plane shift. Oh wait, that could bring 8 people. Wait, what if I offer them? Okay, hey, would you guys like to go to the astral plane? And they're like, what? And it's like, yeah. And they're like, Nikki, are you sure? I'm like, I wouldn't have offered it if I wasn't sure. And they're like, yeah, we want to go there. I'm like, okay. And then now they suddenly went from fantasy city building game to astral plane futuristic world. And they're just like, I don't know how we got here, but we're here. It was a lot of fun.
God, that sounds so cool.
I
need to be in a game
think,
set in the astral plane.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think mine would be, there's a I just started the Genesis in a Call of Cthulhu game, but I've used it a couple of times actually in other settings, and I think it works really well. It's a tricky one to pull off because you really have to talk with your players beforehand, and you know, especially when you talk about like safety tools and stuff, and talk about like making sure that they're okay with you pulling this. But the ideal is that you have you have them make essentially 2 characters. One of them is going to be their character that's themselves, and then you talk to them about making a secondary character. And the idea in the original Call of Cthulhu game was that their personalities had been swapped by some cultists into other bodies,
cool.
and they were in an asylum. And then I've used it in D&D too, in like a magical prison. And so you're in a different body, and this is how all the characters now, they've come from random parts around the world because this ritual was cast and pulled them all into these bodies. And now the goal is, of course, for the beginning of the game, is for you to escape and find the people that have your bodies and get them back. So it's a fun little way, like, again, so long as you like make sure your players are okay with that sort of thing, that, you know, where it's kind of an opportunity to play 2 different characters, because I had a couple of people who like had completely different body types and completely different things in this swap and things like that. And I even had one of the characters who like had made the characters, but by the time they had like jaunted to all these different places and tracked down their bodies, they decided to stay in the body that they had gotten. And you know, they just took out the cultist that was in their body, but they're like, I like this body better, and I'm gonna go with it. So
Love that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about like running something like that for a long time. So the fact that someone else hasn't worked out well,
Yeah.
that's
And
I
it's
love
like
that.
a perfect setup to like break the old, of course, you all meet in a tavern kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because I had this great group of characters who didn't know anything about each other. They were from totally different parts of the world, and things like that. But obviously now, because of this this cultist plot, they had something that gave them a common bond. And by the time there was more of the campaign beyond once they got their bodies back, but by that time they had formed all these bonds because they had been working together now to like meet this common goal.
yeah.
I like
I
that
love
you bring up the meeting in the tavern because that's such a huge twist. Like you meet in a jail in a different body.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
I had my best friend did a game where we played. We met in a dream in somebody else's body, and we found out later that it was our ancestors' bodies, and we were
nice.
destined to be the defeaters of of the Cthulhu-esque world type thing. So we had a 5th edition character for the Dream Us, and then we had a play by the Apocalypse character for the Real Us, and then my character was a cultist in the real life game who was part of the family that actually summoned the beings that caused the dream problems.
Nice.
So it was this whole chaotic thing because I was helping her co-DM because it was the first time, and it was just such a fun game, honestly, because we were like, oh yeah, let's go kill the things. Touches thing that activates everything. Oh, no, I didn't do anything.
Kind of in relation to that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Drac.
Oh, no, go on. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of in like the same vein as this. I was playing this game where the GM had actually side messaged a player. It was like, hey, by the way, I just rolled a save for you and you failed. And I need you to go around and like touch as many of the PCs as you can. And so she went and she like, hey guys, let's have a party. And I was like, yes, I have needed a beach episode for so long. And I'm like, yes, we're gonna do dancing, we're gonna drink together, we're like passing stuff off. And she's just like, as she like accepts a platter, she'll brush someone's hand or she'll go and dance with somebody. And as she was doing that, we were actually like stepping into a dream realm. And all of a sudden, we're like attacked. And we had no idea. And like, so the people who hadn't been touched were defending our bodies that were like asleep on the ground. And everyone else was being attacked in the dreamland. So we were like, split the party because of this person. And we didn't know that it was her fault for like so many sessions. It was absolutely wild because she did it again and again and again. And I had no idea she was doing it. I was so pissed. But yeah, that was for sure.
That. Yeah, no, mine doesn't compare now.
Oh no!
Yeah, first next time.
So I haven't GM'd like a game. I've GM'd a one shot, but I'm mostly a player. I do plan on GMing eventually, having a whole idea for that. But I'm in a game that is being streamed right now, called Midsummer Mysteries. It's an alternate history, which is very interesting. Alternate history campaign called using the Clockwork Domain system. And it's set in, I think, 1889, something like that. And I'm playing a character who's an inventor. He does alchemy. He's a brilliant inventor, and I've made him be like this really very naive, very innocent-seeming person. And it was going great. It was honestly amazing. Everyone in chat loved them, and that was part of the plan because he had a very, very dark history that like seemed completely to contrast how he seems to be as a person. Like he was very much like in 1889, everything was everything culturally is exactly the same. So like you have to be very ladylike if you're a lady, very manly if you're a man. But my character very much was the progressive one. And he was definitely the most progressive one in the time period. So everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's awesome. He must be a really swell dude." And then they found out afterwards that he experimented on Orphans. It was terrible, but it was also great seeing everyone's reaction in chat. Because they're like, wait, I thought I liked him. You know what? I still like him, but he has awful things. Like seeing everyone like have that conflict just going on in chat was very, very fulfilling to me. Because I definitely wanted that to be like, should we like him or should we not like him? I'm not entirely sure anymore, and I definitely got that. So I think that's probably the biggest curveball I've thrown ever. I think the biggest that a GM has thrown at me is that we're playing around with the first minute campaign, and my character's going to be sacrificed, but none of the players wanted that to happen. My character was very much had like a death wish kind of thing going on, so he was fine with it. But none of the other characters were okay with it, so they essentially kidnapped him and ran away. And then, like a day later, found out that the whole of East Haven kind of collapsed because they needed a sacrifice for that day, but they didn't get one, so everyone kind of revolted, and it was just mayhem. And ended up being that I think we're pretty sure they killed like the speaker of this town. And it was all, at least for my character blames himself because, you have to have that kind of drama in every campaign. But that was like the biggest curveball because we're like, okay, I think it's safe to come back now. And they were like, there's no East Haven to come back to. Oh.
I just.
Nope.
Sorry.
That's all right. We came back. It's all good.
I honestly just thought of another one that a DM threw at me. My friend who DMs my Shadowrun game, besides the Mafia one, the Mafia one was definitely a curveball, and I'm like, holy crap. But this was the first time like there was consequences for my character's actions, and like I actually had to like understand what that meant, because Shadowrun's much darker than D&D. D&D you could be murder, hobo, crazy, and like sometimes there's never consequences. Shadowrun, not the case. So we're being shot at by a sniper somewhere. They killed one of the players already, so I'm just desperately trying to get this sniper to stop shooting at us. And I notice that he's in a building, so I hack into the fire suppression system because I'm the decker, and my DM's like, the fire suppression or the sprinkler system? And I'm not thinking clearly, so I'm like, suppression. Just get him to stop.
Oops.
And I killed 40 innocent people in an apartment building, not realizing it, to stop the sniper. And then he's like, okay. And then he told me what happened. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't mean to do that. And he's like, that's what happened. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just reacting. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, it's absurd.
The space campaign that I'm running right now, there's space pirates, and they introduce themselves by singing space sea shanties. And I had this really, galaxy brain idea that they were also vampires, because the thought is that only the sun that they were created under is the star that could like damage them, so they can go into space and be like these immortal vampires that can't hurt them. And as soon as I revealed that they were vampires and pirates, Doug was like, oh, vampirates. And I was like, I revealed this 3 seconds ago, and you've already come up with a better name than I had coming into this. Like, there's my curveball, and you've already outdone me.
That's pretty awesome.
Good.
I was proud.
Yeah, I really love that, and just the idea of it like being specifically the sun that they're born under. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
But like
one.
going off with Nikki's, because that reminded me of one that, oh god. So like I said, most of the games I played have actually been on stream, which is weird because I started basically right when COVID really hit. So I haven't had much chances to play like in person. So I guested on one. I started off as a guest on one stream in a Cypher System campaign, and I played a character. This is the sci-fi fantasy. We're playing like in space, but also kind of superheroes at the same time, but it's very much sci-fi as well. And my character is a alien like lizard kind of thing, and he has the power of time travel. So my character came from the future and came back to the past, which is still technically the future compared to like real life, but to warn the main characters of something that was happening. Like this big bad guy came from my present day to theirs, and I came to stop them. And so we teamed up to beat this person, and we ended up getting sucked out of the spaceship into like space without any kind of like space or anything like that. And my character, in a panic, uses abilities to rewind time, so we could get back to the point where we were about to get like vacked out of the spaceship. And I managed to save everyone, and that was great. That was cool. That's my guest appearance. I was done for I was done for that session. So I left, and they kept playing, and then they reached out to me again and was like, "Hey, do you want to be a permanent cast member?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I do." So I came as a permanent cast member. I came back with that character, and then during the time I've been there for at least like 20-25 sessions at this point. We find out that I didn't undo that timeline, so everyone still died. I just created a new timeline, so everyone that I thought I saved still died. One person survived and ended up becoming like a villain in that timeline, and then that villain came into our timeline to affect our timeline's version of them. It was a whole thing, and I was just sitting there like, I didn't think my guest appearance would have a consequence. I didn't realize.
Oh no!
So like,
So
it's
cool,
not the
though.
whole. It's so
Yeah.
cool, and it's made so many like moral and like dilemmas, because he thinks that he saved like his loved one died as well. So he thought he saved his loved one, but in fact, she still died. It still happened, and this isn't. He's not entirely sure if this is the role one. He doesn't know which one to feel bad about, good about. Like, he's with her, but at the same time lost her. So it's a whole thing is really, it was really great. Did not see it coming. And
That's
the
so
plan wasn't even for me to come back. Like, that was like an in the moment thing. They reached out to me like, "Hey, we saw you're free on Wednesdays. You want to play?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So apparently this is the plan anyway, regardless of me coming back or not. But now I actually have to suffer the consequences.
Oh,
Time travel does the best curveballs. I think it's like
Yeah,
it's
it really
amazing.
does.
What?
Just thought of another one that I was literally having an anxiety attack while it was happening,
Oh no.
and I completely forgot. It was epically done, so well done. This is a not recorded game, and I wish it was sometimes. But this is a Eberron game, and I play Tari, a Kalashtar monk whose like main goal in life is to kill the Boromar clan for like causing problems with her family because she pissed them off or whatever. But so they were planting the bomb to kill the last people, like the last. It was gonna end it. It was gonna be the end of the campaign. It was gonna be perfection. And the bomb went off, and then so did like about 20 other bombs afterwards. And we're like, we only planted one bomb. What is happening? And like we were all so confused. And we're like, did we get tricked? Did the person who said they were helping us, did they trick us? What's going on? And we're like trying to figure out what's happening. And we get in a sky coach and we go up to see what's happening. Every single Dragon Mark house was destroyed in Eberron. And so was the house, I think it's called the Silken Feather, which is like basically a pleasure house. And my character's significant other worked there that nobody knew existed. So my character started freaking the heck out, and we're like, get to the ground, get to the ground, get to the ground right now, over there, let's go. And they're
Oh,
like,
man.
what's wrong? I'm like, no, get to the ground. And then she found a changeling body, which freaked her out, and I was like, I will kill you, Bree. I just got this relationship. And then the changeling moved and was alive, which was like the bone that was thrown during this whole thing. So I was able to save that one person, and then we slowly started piecing together things as we were looking around the chaos, and we realized that we were the ones that fed the information to the person who did this. And the reason why everybody died, and the reason why like the tattoo person died, and the reason why everything happened was because we trusted her, even though our instincts told us not to.
Oh.
Oh.
And and it all started because one character died who she was close to, and that was like 2 years ago
Wow.
in game. And I'm like, this is our fault. This is all our fault.
Oh.
That's a
It
hefty
was it was so bad. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? And And then we went to go follow her, and we thought we could take her on. And we killed a dragon, and we're like, heck yeah! And like my character dived underwater and punched a dragon to death, and was like, this is epic! I'm gonna do it. And then she laid a trap that I fell right into, and I actually died, and was able to come back, thankfully. But it was like, now my character is scared for the first time in 2 years of a campaign, and I'm just like, Bree, what are you doing to my heart? I can't handle this.
I can say one that made me think of with the time travel thing is that in a Call of Cthulhu game, one of the players had it was a long running campaign, and towards the end of the campaign, one of the players had gotten a hold of the Necronomicon, and he picked up a quirk that he was obsessed with the Necronomicon, and he was so obsessed that at one point, right towards the tail end of the campaign, the party went back in time because we had to try and go back to try and fix something. And the character that was obsessed with the Necronomicon got the ideal in his head that he could steal the Necronomicon from the earlier version of himself, so he would have two of them. And needless to say, having two Necronomicons did not end well.
Oh boy, I can imagine.
It did not end well at all. That was. Fortunately, it was at the end of the campaign, and the campaign was drawing to a close because it just about ended everything. So.
The slow revenge plot did remind me of another one. It was actually my first ever D&D like TTRPG in general that I've ever played, and I was playing a Dragonborn fighter, and we had the classic. Sadly, it wasn't like a body switch scenario, but it was definitely like a jailbreak scenario where we woke up in a jail cell and wanted to escape. And my character was very much like, he was a noble. He didn't like getting dirty if he could avoid it. He didn't want to hurt anyone if he could avoid it. And we ended up in combat, and I rolled a nat 20 for one of my attacks. And with the amount of damage I did, I would have obviously like very easily killed them. But then they were like, I know you can do non-lethal damage, but would you like to accidentally kill this person? And obviously in character he would never want to kill anyone, but me as a player I was like, okay, that could be really interesting. That's a lot of like things he has to deal with afterwards. So yes, I'll accidentally kill this person. So I accidentally killed one of the guards, and later on found out that they were like, the two guards that we were fighting were like the mother and father of a little kid. And my character felt so guilty about it, so went to the kids, went to their house, and tried their best to like my characters are noble, so like he just gave them so much gold. Didn't explain anything. It wasn't like your parents are dead, here's money. He was just like, hi, I'm a friend of your parents. They said I should give you this, and just gave them a bunch of money. And then later on, they found out that their parents were killed. They found out my character did it, and then like years later, in game, years later, the big bad ends up being this kid growing up, and I did not see it coming. It made the whole thing so... Me as a player, I love the drama of it. My character freaked the fuck out. He was not sure whether he should fight this person because, like, but I kind of deserve this. But, like, they're doing evil at the same time. But the evil's my fault because this wouldn't have happened if I didn't kill their parents. It was great. I love those kind of things. A very simple curveball, I feel like. Like, it's very easy to do, but definitely as a player for the first time in D&D campaign, that was like, did not see that coming, and it definitely left an impression on me. And like I love it when killing people in D&D or any campaign, any genre actually has like repercussions.
Yeah.
I feel like D&D is very like casual about it, which is okay sometimes, but also kind of boring.
Yeah.
I love the long con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when like little things add up and it's just like you don't expect it and you're like, wait, what? No.
You get something that calls back to like your third session or something, and it's like, how did we miss that?
And you've forgotten about it as a player, you know, like on the player side of things, you know. It's great on the GM side of two things when you bring something up and the players are like, wait a minute, wasn't that like, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, oh.
I have such a bad memory, but like my GM brought up my character's brother. In the same session, I said that I was an only child, and I'm like, wait, I have a brother? Add a character? And she's like, that's what you told me. I'm like, when? She's like, a year and a half ago? I'm like, oh, crap. Guys, I have a brother. Pretend I said that earlier.
Pretend I told you that already. Oh my gosh,
I
that's
forgot
funny.
about him.
Well,
I,
like, I
um,
remember the parents, and I'm just like, no, I don't have a brother.
Wasn't there a sibling around here somewhere? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was pretty sure I was an only child. It's fine.
I made one of the characters in the current campaign that I'm playing this Portuguese manowar type creature. So it's this colonial organism, and I was trying to keep this kind of a secret that this ship that the player characters were jumping into had all of these very similar creatures looking to one of the players. And what it turned out to be, the twist that I was trying to give them, was that this ship left the Milky Way like 500,000 years ago and has returned, and they've been doing all of this like genetic modification onto these other organisms to change them. And Nekola, playing a psychic, used her premonition skill where she got to ask the DM one question I had to answer truthfully. And she's like, who's on this ship? Who are these people? And I just gave her a picture of that character, the Portuguese manowar floating guy. She's like, they're all related to this guy. How did that happen? They're so different, but they all look the same. That's so weird.
That's awesome.
It's always fun when you give like just a taste.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that, the beauty of one of the fun things with being the GM is that you can pull these things off and things like that and do these callbacks. And if you're really good at it, and you pick up on like taking these little subtle notes and stuff like that, you can call back to these things like so far later in the campaign and stuff like that. And the players always eat it up because they're like, oh my gosh, that was like so long ago, I had forgotten about so and so or whatever plot point. And it's always for me it's always a fun moment to bring those things back and to have players just like it makes it's one of the things I think that makes TTRPG worlds feel lived in.
Yeah.
Well, we have about reached the end of our second hour. And so we are going to go back around and have everybody just remind us of who they are and where we can find you online, and anything going on that you want to make sure we know about, Kickstarters, new podcasts, streams that you're part of, anything like that. And we're going to go in the reverse order from when we started. So we're actually going to start with Nikki.
Yay. I'm Nikki, the host, producer, creator, editor, all that jazz of Beholder to No One, a D&D TTRPG podcast that has 3 shows currently. Discussion interview show every Monday, and on Thursday alternating between one-shots of random tabletop games and a D&D actual play. Currently is Behold Clearlight, our horror-esque actual play, but soon the Eberron Cowboy Bebop inspired story. We will also have a Vampire the Masquerade story soon, which I'm so excited about playing my Nosferatu. And we will be having a Savage Worlds game, which I'm so excited to play my android on.
That's awesome.
And you can find me at Beholder to No One on Twitter and come chat with me and be my friend. I need more friends.
Well, thank you for coming to hang out. I'm glad that we finally got to have you on. And
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. And next we'll head over to Nolan.
Nolan Lacey. I play Yardy Dribblejaw on Good Better Quest. You can find us at GBQPod on Twitter. We do have a couple of things coming up that I remembered in the middle of this stream. We are doing a crossover stream with the From Afar guys eventually. We were supposed to do it in May, and it's been pushed off a couple of times, but I know the Davids have been working on a story, and I am just thrilled to bits to get to hear it. The other thing is that we are working on starting a GBQ stream where we are going to try and do different systems, but David is also working with me on making a C team esque kind of gameplay where we bring guests on and they have to do quests in the Faerun University library, and you guys have to you have to go and find books, but it's not going to be easy. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and hanging out. I am looking forward to that crossover. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
So excited.
All right, Stefan, we'll head to you next.
Yeah, so I'm Stefan. I just started doing my first stream. We're doing the Seas of Vodari setting for 5th edition D&D, and I'm playing Bear Moranis, who is an amphibious race from that setting called the Voda, that I'm having some fun with. We just had our first session, so it should be going up here soon. But you can find stuff in my Twitter link, which is posted there. If you ever want to talk to me about TTRPGs or about my thesis on TTRPGs or anything TTRPG related, or also like movie related, because I'm also like a huge film guy. I minored in film, so and I teach like film history as part of the stuff that I teach. So if you ever want to talk about that, or if you ever want to talk about like putting fun history stuff into any of your games and stuff like that, that's like what I do. I teach college history, so I can give you all kinds of fun tidbits and things like that about injecting history into not only Western history, but I do Sub-Saharan African history and South Asian history. So all kinds of fun stuff there. So if you ever want to talk, just find me on Twitter and we can go more. And then the last thing is that if you are interested in, like I said, I'm in the very early stages of putting together my own podcast/stream dealing with unified diversity in these times that we're in now. And you think that you might have something to contribute to that, please contact me on Twitter. I'm trying to get that ball up and rolling.
Awesome. That sounds great. You are a busy person.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming on and hanging out tonight. Again, I super appreciate it. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Drac, we'll head over to you. Thank you for staying up so late.
Honestly, I want to go down my schedule and you'll see that it's not very late for me, to be honest, because I stay out this late all the time. Hi, I'm Draconics, or Drac for short. You can find me on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQUES. I stream all over the place. If you don't mind, I'm going to go down my schedule because there's a lot of stuff I'm very excited about. So you can catch me on the D&D channel at 4 p.m. Eastern, playing the Can Keep Mishies series right now. I think we just finished Book of the Raven. I'm not entirely sure what the next chapter is going to be, but we're going through all of the books in all of the chapters in the Can Keep Mysteries book. On Tuesdays, starting this Tuesday actually, I'm going to be over on Coldboard Press at 7 p.m. Eastern in a D&D miniseries where we're going to be playing through the Scarlet Citadel, which is a supplement that the Kobold Press has made. It's going to be a ton of fun. Very excited for everyone to see my character at 7 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, I'm going to be over at Rule of Law at 9 p.m. Eastern in a cyber system campaign called Infinite Horizon. That's where I play the time travel lizard alien with the consequences that I didn't know I was going to have to pay. And you can find me over on Saturday over at Table Story at 2 p.m. Eastern in the Clockwork Dominion campaign called Midsummer Mysteries, which is the 1889 alternate history world I'm playing in. That's going to be the last episode of the mini-series that we're in. You can also hear my voice every third Sunday of the month in an actual play podcast called Super Idols RPG. Kind of like, it's a mask campaign. It's kind of like Sailor Moon plus pop idols meshed together. It's a lot of fun. I'm also the event organizer and co-founder of Friends Roll Dice, which is a TTRPG Twitch channel where we're doing a bunch of, we play a bunch of D&D. Right now I'm organizing a charity event. We're going to be raising money for the Trevor Project. I'm going to be putting out GM. We put a GM call. We're going to put out a player call as well, so people can come on and play as we raise money for a good cause. I'm also the stream manager of One More Multiverse, which is a little project we started where we're going to be trying to, I guess, combine the idea of like a 8-bit pixel game plus a virtual tabletop, so you can play any tabletop you want on this platform and make it as visual as you can, because I feel like certain character sheets is all fun and it's fun sometimes, but you want to have a little bit of something to actually look at and stare at that's really pretty. So that's everything. Yes.
Are you sure?
Oh, also,
I knew
no,
it.
yes, I remember. Friends Roll Dice and Resonate, which is a board game company, are teaming up on the 12th of June for a charity event where we're going to be raising money for I Need Diverse Games.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to be playing
Awesome.
a bunch of games, bunch of board games on Resonate channel, made by people of color, and then Tidebreaker, which is a TTRPG made by a person of color on our channel on Friends Roll Dice. That's everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
What kind
great,
of coffee do you drink, man? Because I need to get some. Like,
Actually, I don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee fan.
Sponsored by the coffee.
right? Well, thank you for putting us on your busy schedule. Then I super appreciate it. It's been really great to get to know you a little bit, and I know I see you around Twitter a lot, so I'm looking forward to continued interaction there. And next, Emily.
Oh boy, I'm gonna also run through my schedule if that's okay. It's not as lengthy as Drax, but yeah. So my name is Emily. I am 1/3 of the main core Level 1 Geek team. I've been chatting in chat as Level 1 Geek. That's our streaming channel. We've been streaming on this channel for about 7 months now, I think, and we've been having a great time. On Mondays, you can find this face playing D&D. We're doing Rime of the Frost Maiden. On Tuesdays, we've been doing Black Void, but we've just swapped over to doing Pathfinder to rev up for our 3rd season of Tabletop Treasure Hunters, which is a multi-guild competing for a grand prize. And we have like 12 players, I think it is, this season, and we'll be rotating through the cast, doing different jobs and progressing 4 different storylines as they try and like win. Right? It's really cool. Then on Wednesday, I run what's called TTRP Geeks. I GM random indie games because I love indie games. This month, I am GMing Defiant, which I'm very excited of. Oh, I guess I'm also doing an indie game tomorrow because our GM's out of town. So I'm going to be playing this game called Fuck It Up. That's my one F-bomb for the stream. But that's literally the name of the game. And it's basically you roll dice and you see how the situation devolves into chaos. And I'm pretty excited to try it out. Besides that, every other Friday, I am going to be guesting on Hungriest Clone. He popped in here for a minute. We just did a world building session using the system of Ground itself. And it's going to be like this steampunk world where the mana has like irradiated the land and animals have gotten like huge and dangerous, and we need to go out and drain the mana from them to like charge our protective field around our cities to keep everything from getting to us. And it's going to be really fun, and I'm excited for that show.
Awesome.
Besides those things, I also write for TTRPGs. So hit me up if you need some words for something. Currently, I am writing an adventure for this amazing game called Necrobiotic. It's on Kickstarter right now. If we get $5,000 more, Drac will also be an adventure writer for it. Very excited. Let's make that happen. And I think that's all of my things. If you are a new GM or DM and you want to learn more, you can check out our blog. It's www.level1geek.com. We have a lot of stuff of how to convince your non-geeky friends to join the addiction that is TTRPGs.
Nice. I like it. Well, thank you all again so much for coming to hang out. I am Gamer Mom Luna. This has been Tales from the Tavern. We're here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, taking your questions and having lots of fun conversation about TTRPGs. Tuesday nights right here on Shared Experience, you can catch our Fantasy Flight Games Edge of the Empire Star Wars campaign, which is also at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Wednesday nights is our Pathfinder First Edition campaign, 50 Shades of Crimson, which actually this week we'll be taking a break. Most of the cast, however, will be doing a one-shot. We will be joined by Ray Mayhem from our 50 Shades, from our Ripples in the Gray Star Wars game, and we're going to be doing a little random one-shot on Wednesday night, again at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to drop a raid on our friends, the Dice Tyrants. This is very important. It is Big B's birthday tonight. He is one of the cast in their stream. So please make sure you wish him a happy birthday when we get over there. And outside of that, this has been a great night. Thank you again to everybody, and we will catch you all next Sunday.